Hello and welcome to another Dragon Plus live stream where we discuss more of the content heading into each issue of Dragon Plus magazine, as well as the design, the development, and running of the content in your Dungeons & Dragons game. I'm your host, as always, Bart Carroll, and with me, as always, our guests. Today's guests, somehow we managed to invite Richard Witters back onto the set, despite his disastrous outing last time. No, it was another good chance to talk art with Richard and Kate Irwin, both senior art directors here for the Dungeons & Dragons brand. So welcome to both of you.
It's fun to be here.
It's nerve-wracking to be here.
It's totally nerve-wracking.
Believe me, I feel the same way. But thank you for attending the live stream as well. So for this week on Dragon Plus, the latest issue 16, is available now on iOS, Android, and at dragonmag.com. It's our storyteller issue. As part of that issue, we also did an interview with the Xanathar. Matthew Cernit was the voice of the Xanathar. And with Xanathar's Guide to Everything coming out November 10th in Core and November 21 for Mass, we wanted to take a look at some of the art that is in Xanathar's Guide and talk to a couple of our esteemed art directors.
It's just around the corner.
It is. It's finally here. Before we get into that, this weekend we also had our 2017 Extra Life event. Richard, I didn't know if you watched any of the live streams. But
I did not.
They were wonderful. Well, we do have them on Vodcast and on YouTube as well. So I'm going to send you links for.
Okay. I've heard a lot. Everybody seemed to really enjoy it.
It was fun. It was very rewarding. Yeah. And as always, thank you to everyone who was watching or participating in chat, and of course for donating along the way as well. And I'll run through the games that we ran, and thanks to the Dungeon Masters. But Kate, you were also here for Extra Life.
Well, I was behind the scenes.
Yes.
I mainly was talking to people and walking them in and out of the building. But without me, I mean, everybody would still be trapped. So.
Yes, you were in charge of the green room, and without the green room, it all falls apart. So. But yes, over the weekend we ran. If we include hosting the Team Hasbro, we did achieve our 24 hours of hosting. We had Mike Merles at Gamehole Con for his Machineries of Death session. We did have one change this year. In the past, we've done live auctions of product and books between sessions or during sessions. This year, we wanted to do things a little differently. We had live stream games take place in different parts of the country and even in the UK with Encounter Role-Playing. So we didn't do the live auctions. There wasn't an easy way for us to do the logistical tracking of donations coming in and affecting the game. We'll learn from that. We'll look to add some of that in for next year as well. But yes, so that was the first thing I told Mike was we're not doing live donation tracking because it's going to be hard to communicate with you.
Did that make him happy or
No.
sad?
The second they went live, they said, all right, so for your donations.
Oh.
They completely disregarded that. And it worked. And they started, as donations came in, they were doing shots.
Wait. Shots?
Oh, yeah.
Shots?
They were in Madison, Wisconsin at Gamehole Con, and shout out to them. It was a great convention that also wrapped up. And I guess as part of the Wisconsin tradition, there was a good amount of drinking during your Dungeons & Dragons.
It gets cold out there.
It does.
So just pay to get Mike drunk.
Yeah,
that was the game.
I think they all did. I think they all got...
we can play that game for free if you come here.
It's called Friday Night.
Yeah.
So thank you to Mike and all of his players. Then we had Neil Erickson, Koibu, running the Misclicks Morta's Marauders late on Friday evening. He had a fun game where they kind of did a Groundhog Day. One scenario, TPK, and they had to run through it again and try and learn from their mistakes, which they did. Early Saturday morning, we had Will Jones and the Encounter Roleplay crew go through Grung the Musical, which was as advertised and wonderful. And then, Kate, you were here for the two games we had at Wizards of the Coast. Lauren Urban ran Escape from Annihilation, and Sean Wood ran The Lost Kenku. And as part of Sean's game, I donated to position an NPC in make an appearance, which was Quinn, the nut-kicking kobold. May or may not be based on anyone in real life.
They're disappointed in Sean. He didn't kill a single player.
Oh, well, next year.
But Emmy got kicked in the nuts. So.
Her character.
Her character did.
And then finally, we had Chris Perkins at GameholeCon wrapping up his session with a mimic pirate ship, which was super cool. And I think they were also doing donations.
The whole ship was a mimic?
The whole ship was a mimic.
Wow.
And they pulled it out at the end. They had some amazing natural 20s. Personally, quick thanks to David Wienip, Jordy Clayton, and the Mazanoble family, appropriately enough, for donating to my Extra Life page. And Axis of Anarchy and Spectral Adventuring, they were in the moderation, I think, the whole time. So thank you so much for helping the event go off. It might have been the most successful fundraising year we've had, and it's all super, super appreciated. So thank you, everyone. Now, moving on to Xanathar's guide. So this is where I'm going to start throwing out random image requests to Pelham, who is also here for Extra Life. Pelham and Sean did an admirable job running the computers and the cameras and all of the gear. So thank you. So we're gonna showcase some of the art and have a bit of a chat about that. Apologies in advance if you hear any background noise.
Oh, right.
The entire third floor has been in the process of an office move. So our desks have all been reassembled, but the ones right outside the door are in the process of being reassembled. So that's not my stomach grumbling, which is usually the case, but a pneumatic drill of some sort putting it all together.
Perfect.
You've had your salad.
I did, with a lot of beans in it, so you never know
Nice.
what's going to go on. Yeah,
It's a small room.
I know. Yeah, yeah. See, now we're live. I can tell all the secrets. My stomach always rumbles. Richard admitted his fandom for One Direction right before the camera.
Yep.
And Kate, what
They're
terrible!
talented.
Oh, and Kate, while she knew that the Seahawks field goal kicker did not have a great game, she could not remember his name. So
I know, and I was almost born here. I'm almost as true a Seattleite as you can be, and I didn't know his name. But he's new, right?
He's very This is
I knew
his first
Hauschka.
year. Yeah, I know. But moving on from that display of
sad.
So, Kate, we had talked for a previous issue of Dragon Plus for the magazine itself when we were looking at Tales from the Awning Portal. We were pulling out some of the concept pieces from the Against the Giants component as well. And if you haven't seen it yet, we have got some of the concept. We've got like TYP, Fire Giant 1, and Fire Giant 2. We'll put those up on the screen as well. So here's King Snurry, and one of the things that we wanted to showcase a bit more of was everyone loves the art that goes into the book. I love the art that goes into the book, but we always look for opportunities to showcase some of the process behind the making of the art. And I loved looking at the concept for these coming in, realizing that the final poses tend to shift as we come in. So was there, kind of going back to that conversation, is there thinking that you had for the different ways that we had presented the King Snurry from beginning to end?
Well, what we do, we try to give kind of open-ended art direction or art descriptions, art orders to the artists so that they can have fun and produce something that speaks to them. We don't want to say, he's sitting at three-quarter view with his hand on his chin, half smile. We tell them what his personality is or important things that are in the room, and then we let them go at it.
Yeah.
And so, and every artist works with that a little bit differently. Some will latch onto an idea right away and send a pretty detailed sketch of that idea, and then we just kind of tweak through, make sure that the details are correct, and if we can think of a way to make it more exciting or push an emotion that the image is supposed to have, we'll do that. But this artist in particular sent in a couple different quick sketches, and so then we decided to go in one direction with him kind of looking down at you to kind of give you more of that feeling of, you know, he's a giant and the viewer is down below, and it's imposing. And
he's bored with your puniness.
Yes.
Because the earlier sketch is a little slouched, and then this one he's still quite comfortable, but definitely looking down.
Yeah.
And if we've got the FR, G1, G2, G3, it's sort of the same. This is the frost giant Jarl, and it's like, here's a couple different possibilities for his pose.
Right, and this one, you know, the award wall was part of the art description, but the artist did so many cool things for his trophy wall that we kind of wanted to make sure that we got as much of that in as we could, with still having the correct kind of mood for the Jarl.
That's great.
I need a trophy wall at home.
You do.
Not with actual
Heads.
taxidermies, but I don't know what it would be. Stuffed animals and action figures that I've hunted through the years.
And this is a neat thing, too, to show the sort of connection between Kate and I. So what we're showing here are the artist's sketch and then the final. Mm-hmm. The stuff that I work on is concepting, which comes before that, which is...
Even before the sketches.
Yeah.
Right. So concepting is where you, like, you aren't as worried about, like, the pose or telling a story. You're sort of like, what's the armor look like?
Yeah.
What's the shape of his axe? Or, like, all those little details.
What sets all of those types of giants apart from each other, but they still all look like giants?
Yep. Yep. So you work out all that kind of stuff. And then Kate uses that as a reference to send to the artist. And the artist will do a sketch. But at that point with the sketch, there's more of a... the art description adds more of a mood, like, oh, he's got to look like he's grumbly and he's on his throne, and so that's like a full art description. So it's sort of, we sort of hand things off in that way.
It's a progression where I think, like, when Richard's working on things, the mood isn't as important, and a lot of times, like with the giants, he did just poses of a male and female giant just standing there, so that you could see that they have longer arms than a human would do. They have smaller heads. They the things that make them look like a monster instead of a human if you just see their silhouette.
It's more was the Leonardo Vitruvian Man style of
kind of like that.
Person or a giant looks like. So concepting goes off to the artist, and then they get the art order to say, okay, now take this guy and put him in a...
So it's those two things together that allow the artist to come up with the final image.
Yeah.
Cool. And I think we've got one more, and this, again, was in Dragon, I want to say 12 or 13. We've got the HG1 and 3. This was the final giant in the series. I guess we went in descending order of size.
The hill giant.
The hill giant. Nasra.
This one was a lot of fun because the artist Mark Bam, he had a good time with these guys. The first sketches, you can see that all of the food was in front of the main giant. And it was like, no, it's not like he's hoarding all of the food to himself. Everybody gets some, but he gets the lion's share. So, so that was one of the minor tweaks that went from the sketch into the final art. But they still have to take their cues from him.
We need to Photoshop in like a turkey for our Thanksgiving greeting card or something like that.
Do a face swap and put your family faces on there.
Or Halloween, like a big thing of Halloween candy would work out really well. So I remember in the article we had also talked about kind of mirror swapping some things as well, just to see if the pose looks better one way or the other. So I know that also comes up.
Yeah, a lot of times when an artist sends in a sketch, the image may be one direction, and then when you get the final in, it's flipped to the other direction. And this happens as part of a lot of their process, because everybody has, Richard can talk to this as well because he is an artist, but people have ways that they're comfortable in doing things, and so you might always draw noses that kind of tilt one direction or something like that. And so if you flip the image, you can see, oh, that looks out of alignment, but you're so used to seeing it the other way, you don't really see it until you flip it, if that makes any sense. So, and sometimes an artist, when they're doing that as part of their process, they'll think, well, I actually like this image better turned this way. So.
And we talked on the side, the Superman part was Clark Kent he parts his hair on one side, and then Superman is parted on the other, and it sort of expresses.
We had that on
two sides of
Magic a couple of times where Johnny has a scar on one eye. But like we said, artists flip things because everybody has sort of a bias where when you're drawing or painting, especially in the drawing part, where you have sort of a lean, you know, it has to do with left and right brain kind of thinking stuff. But anyway, in the really old days, they would use a mirror and look at their drawing in a mirror and then say, oh, it's a bit off, and try to correct it that way. But yeah, in modern Photoshop days, it's like flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it, and sometimes an artist will forget, especially if you have like an eye scar. Oh, it's on the wrong side.
Yeah, or a deity symbol.
Yeah.
We always have to be on the lookout for that, especially with licensors. If they're using a piece in something they're producing and it works better with the character on the other side, they'll flip it, and you go, but the gauntlet of Torm has to be this direction. You can't do that. So.
Right. I had, we've got I think we have an example of the part 1 and part 2. So if we put on part 1, see, we've got a strong and valiant, but if you mirror flip it to the other side, complete a-hole.
Oh my God.
No, just kidding. That's Quinn, the kobold who made his appearance. But debonair as always. So he's not old enough to sue me for putting his image up on the internet.
I kind of want a suit like that.
Your dog has one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Winston?
Yeah.
He's got a tuxedo suit?
Yeah.
He does.
Aw.
Yeah.
Did Winston dress up for Halloween?
No.
Oh.
No. I put his little Rocky sweater on him at one point, but it's not really.
He looks really cute in a hood.
Any dog dressed up looks, I think, that much cuter.
It's true.
So that was Tales from the Yawning Portal and Against the Giants. That was a bit of a past conversation we had just to kind of recap and rehash a bit of that. So moving into Xanathar's guide, I've got a couple of images. We might have shown these in the past couple of weeks about sort of the progression of Xanathar himself through the years. We've got Xanathar 1 through 3 and the covers. So
the Xanathar is not one.
Yeah.
The Xanathar has been many beholders over the years. So
he could be the different depictions could be depending on the Xanathar.
Yeah. It's like Xanathar is like Pope or President.
Yeah, or
it's
the
not.
Khan
It's
or
not
something.
like Bart, Kate, or Richard.
Yeah.
Where there's only one.
I like to think that there's only one, and it's
It's the same guy who's been hanging around.
Yes. So when we look at the past Xanathars, was there anything that you were interested in carrying into the new cover version, or how he was going to be depicted in the Xanathar's Guide to Everything?
Well, we did end up using the first one that you had. I don't know what the number is. It's the long one with the bright blue. This one.
Yep.
That was originally done for Dungeon magazine in the early 2000 somethings. Not like 2012 or 2011, something
The
like that.
distant past.
Yes, so long ago. Yeah, so that was the one that became kind of our model for this Xanathar, because we kind of like the articulation of his eye stalks instead of everything being very flowy.
And here he is on the cover.
The blue and yellow coloring of him was very nice, and so we picked up that piece of art and used it in the book as well, since he looked so similar and menacing.
And that one too is based off an even older piece.
Yeah.
That was in a Forgotten Realms guide. Forget the exact name of the book.
Oh,
but it was a really great take on him.
The Waterdeep, I think it was a naturally for the Xanathar.
Yep.
And so if we can put back up, we've got the cover, and we also here he is in all his glory
with his beloved goldfish.
Yeah. And speaking of the goldfish, do we have the cover sketch as well? So I was rooting around and found this. I just love that there's different takes on how the goldfish might be best presented. Like, oh, we've got the Xanathar.
Yeah.
What's his goldfish going to look like? How was there any debate on what makes for the best gold?
Yeah,
goldfish?
Shauna showed us all of the versions, and I think everybody had a favorite goldfish. The goldfish also, even though the Xanathar may think that it's the same fish, goldfish don't last very long, so I guess the acolytes take care of making sure that he always has goldfish.
They have to swap it in every time.
Yeah, they replace it to
something happens.
save their own skin.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that cover. It's beautiful. And Jason did a really nice job on all of the magic items that the Xanathar has sitting around him, too.
So the artist, Jason Rainville, am I pronouncing that correctly? Jason Rainville did the cover for Xanathar's Guide to Everything. The alt cover, I'm sure we've shown that in various ways, but just to throw it up on screen as well, we've got the Hydro 74 alt cover that is available, limited edition at your friendly local gaming store. But yeah, I love the take on it, and incorporating the goldfish as part of the principal design there, I thought was really well done.
Yeah. And when you see it on the final book, it's just beautiful. There's a lot of that's where also, like, in the cover stuff, Shauna Narciso takes care of a lot of that, which again kind of feeds through like our stuff that comes from concept push stuff, and Kate knowing what's going in the final book, and all that comes through. And that particular cover with Hydro, like some of the building of it is like Emmy Tangi to make sure it's going to go to print properly and stuff like that.
Yeah, all of the special effects that happen with the foil and the soft touch, that's all Emmy's magic with working with the printer and making sure that everything comes out the way that she imagines in her head.
Yep.
It must be a happy place in Emmy's,
yes,
because we've talked about Emmy's work in the past. We mentioned it on the Halloween show as well. We've got new emotes for subscribers as well that Emmy helped create. So
yeah,
super cool stuff.
She's great.
So if we're looking, starting to look at some of the art, the interior art in the book, and I don't know how much the book has been out in preview for some folks. If you were at Gamehole Con, I believe you were able to get a copy of the book. So some folks might have. Yes.
They get early copies?
What?
I think they had them there. I have to get the story straight. But I think
my goodness.
if you were in Mike or Chris's game, if you bought a ticket to the game, part of the donation was access to a copy of Xanathar.
That's cool.
Guide. Yep. For charity.
Where's my copy?
It is.
No,
I left
it's
it
not
behind.
in
It's
here.
not in here. I left it
all
behind.
It's all right.
But I think
I'll get it soon enough.
we all will. Yes, and when we have copies, we'll make sure that we do a quick raffle on a future live stream to give away a few as well. But most people probably have not seen much, if any, of the art. So we wanted to kind of do a little tour through some of the Xanathar's Guide art. Kind of, again, touch base on the creation and some of the thought process that went into it, but also just to kind of showcase the art because it's super cool. So if we start with, we'll just kind of go in order here. We've got 1A, B, and C. This is this is the Castle Gate section from, and stop me when I mispronounce every artist's name, Mark Bem?
Mm-hmm, that's correct.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is a chapter opener. He went through a couple different sketches, not for really changing the content of the piece, but to tweak the characters to make sure that the halfling looks like a halfling and the dwarf looks like a dwarf.
So if we could cycle through it again, I love what 1A, it's like, all right, they're trying to talk their way into the castle gate. How are we going to get inside? Arguing about the story they're going to tell. And then in B, I just love her sort of break.
Way.
I can't believe he's telling me this ploy all over again.
He always thinks this is what's going to happen. And
it never does. It never works. And meanwhile, the third guy is just, I'm already telling the story to the guard, let us in. And kind of talking about the mirror flip. So this was a case where the final version looked best, or you felt like it worked best flipped?
Looked best, and it worked well for the chapter opener leading into the text on the facing page.
Okay, so I guess that's, excuse me, another consideration is where it's actually going to sit within the product itself, the book itself.
Yeah.
So let's say he does manage to make his way into the castle gate. So then we get to go into the pages of Xanathar's Guide itself.
If he doesn't make it in, we've got no book.
We got no book. It's just it's a block of wood then at that point. So we've got 2A and 2B. We're starting to look at, again, if you're familiar with Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and you should be, we've certainly been talking about it for a matter of time now, and much of the book is player options, and much of the book is Dungeon Master options, but some of the player options here, this is, I want to say, this is Eric Belial?
No, this one is Jesper Icing.
Oh, sorry, Jesper Icing. Taking a look at some of the character sketch concepts here.
So he instead of providing his characters as a lineup, he sent me the characters individually so that I could put them in any order that I wanted to, basically, and that was kind of very kind of him to do that.
Yes, Jesper Icing. I read the wrong one because this is the Rogue class spread,
yes.
Not the Druid Circle is the next art. But so here's his take on various rogues that you might base your character on, which is another really cool kind of component of the book. And looking at all of the character spreads, we should pull some of them out for character portraits for your character sheets and make great use of them that way.
Yeah, I love the way that he deals with personalities in his art. I think that all of the artists that I had do the new classes or subclasses really have their finger on that.
And if we've got 3A and B, speaking of puppy dogs and pets, this one is Eric Belial. This is the Druid Circle of the Druid Circle of the Shepherd. So the art order was like, give us a couple of takes on your animal companions. So I love in the concept. There's like, you're playing with it, or maybe there's a dog toy that you're playing with it with.
This one, originally I think they play tested with spectral dogs, or whatever your animal is. So they weren't supposed to be real pets, but we were like, well, we could still do this, and so Jeremy gave me the okay to finish this one up, and sometimes the art inspires the class or the text of the book, and sometimes, most of the time, we're driven by the text. But every once in a while, Jeremy throws me a bone and I get
Says,
something
okay.
with cute puppies in it.
Yeah.
How could you go wrong? I'm not, the only disappointment I have in this piece of art is it's clearly not modeled on Winston.
You know
Or
that
bow.
my dog is, well, I have 2 dogs, but one of my dogs is Winston's brother.
Oh,
Yep.
We're family, we're related. Richard
Winston,
and I.
Isco, Bao. And Bob Salvatore is like 2
Yeah.
or 3 Japanese chins.
Oh, so Winston is Richard's dog. I didn't know I thought it was a pug. Am I completely off base?
My dog?
They're
No,
squish nose.
they're all chins.
Yeah.
Japanese chins. That's our next interview. It'll be a full hour of me and Kate showing puppy pictures.
We were going.
Oh, we
remember
could
we
bring
were
the
going,
dogs.
We were going to bring the dogs. And I think we still should. This would have, in hindsight, it would have been a good week with all
Right,
the
because
chaos of moving offices.
Nobody
No one
would have
known.
noticed.
Yeah.
Next time we'll have the dogs, and we'll be off camera pretending to voice.
Oh, they'll love that.
So, kind of doing a bit more of the classes. If we can go through 4 through 9 a bit slowly, just kind of. This is Chris Seaman, the Barbarian class spread.
Yeah. He did beautiful work on these. Actually, 4 characters because of the spirit character behind the half-orc.
Yeah.
That's a hefty hammer.
Yeah. Sometimes our weapons get a little cuckoo, but
And does that,
in this,
kind of going back to the concepting and that, do you do something similar when it comes to the weapons and the armaments? And hey, if you're going to do a barbarian or a fighter or a ranger, these are what we envision the weapons of the world largely looking like?
Yep. For some of these, there was no concept sweep. They, like these ones, for example, went right to the artist. Though it's based on, we still have baselines of like, here's what our half-orc looks like, and here's what this looks like.
Yeah.
A lot of the concepting happens in the main story kind of books, the main storyline kind of books, whereas Xanathar's is more of a mechanical update with like classes and spells and things like that.
Instead of a Tomb of Annihilation,
Right.
here's the story we're telling through the campaign.
Right. So Xanathar's Guide might have had a few more monsters reconcepted, but there's a point too where like if Kate's commissioning some of these and it's like a bunch of rogues and you give an artist some suggestions, it's kind of equivalent to like a player making up a character. So the guidelines are really like make it interesting, So there's less of a do it this way,
yeah.
I think the more you can get that with artists, the more you can pull good stuff out of them too.
So if we can jump to 5, so kind of following that thought, correct me if I'm wrong, we've got the player's guide and we've depicted a lot of the classes before, so for a new options book, go ahead and stretch things a little bit further afield to see what you come up with.
Right. We know what a baseline bard looks like. We know what
And this
what
is
an
Jesper's
elf.
Bard's.
Yeah. We know what a tiefling looks like. We know what an elf looks like. But if you give them these attributes and make them use this weapon or instrument or magic symbol or whatever the case may be, then the artist can take those things that he's built those ingredients for them. Yeah. And then they take those ingredients and they make this character.
Super cool. So yes, so these are Jesper Isling?
Ising.
Ising.
I don't even know if I'm saying his last name right. Do you know?
Egsing.
I always say Jesper Ising,
Yeah, I would say that
like
too.
cake icing.
Yeah.
Cake
Because his
icing
pieces
would
are
be
so
an
delicious.
awesome name for.
Because he's a crazy Dane.
Yeah.
So it says like icing.
And then we've got 6. This is Corey Trago Erdner's fighter class spread. So bringing in different.
Are you laughing at my dwarf?
Yeah, I like his stubby legs.
He's as tall as everyone else when he's got his steed.
Yeah, exactly.
So this was a case where Corey put him on a horse. We didn't ask for the horse. Corey did that.
Yeah.
And when we got the sketch in, we're like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
And we saw one of the concept sketches previously where they're sort of in a group shot. Do they come in individually sketched and you ask them to composite them together, or do they come in as the full lineup?
Usually they come in as the full lineup.
Okay.
Jesper gave me a special treat in allowing me to put them in whatever order that I wanted to. But I think that that was also part of how he worked on them individually and then brought them all together in a single document. So.
And moving on to 7, we got Jesper again. Yep. This is the, I want to say, the monk class spread.
That is correct. The Drunken Monk, everybody's favorite character at Extra Life.
Yeah, Greg Tito, I think, played one.
And I think Adam played one as well.
Yes, or maybe it was, yeah, there were two drunken characters for sure.
Yeah.
There were several drunken
drunken
players at the Game Hole games.
Right.
But one of the things we wanted to do for Extra Life, just for fun, was make use of some of the Xanathar's Guide material. We had donations come in, pick my race and class, and the players, once that came in, got to use some of the Xanathar's Guide material to refine it a little bit further. So I think Greg, Tito, and definitely Adam as well. I was in transit for
right.
Sean's game. How did Adam do with his Drunken Monk?
Well, I need to watch it again because we were all in the green room and we had it streaming, but the sound was kind of down because everybody was so excited talking about what they
because the game before was during the
so we didn't get to follow in so well.
That's
every once in a while you could tell that something big was happening and we'd go shh 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 shh. But
so we had it on the screen in the green room. So those are the monks. Now we've got 2 from Zoltan Boras. We've got 8 and 9. So this is the Ranger class spread.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the Sorcerer class spread. And we had the puppy dog before, so I love the fact that one of them has a kitty cat as well to balance.
That's
to
right.
Appropriately balance things in the book.
Something for everyone, and the horse.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's true. You know what? I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
I guess it's hard to. There's not a lot of house horses, but there's a lot of house cats.
No, although a miniature horse should be nice.
I'd go with one of those cute, fuzzy miniature donkeys.
Oh, sure, yes.
Those
yes,
would be okay.
I would like that too. As long as you could teach them where to do their business.
And these were late ads, throwing curveballs to Pelham. Did you grab the life path 1 through 4? Okay. So this was kind of the character spreads, but also looking in the book. There's looks at some of the kind of the progression of your life
character,
yeah. And I didn't even realize until looking at the art orders necessarily that it's the same
woman or girl growing up and gaining experience with her magic skills.
And was that specific to the art order?
Yes.
Okay.
So Jeremy Crawford wrote the art order for this. Most of the art order for this, and this was one of the little gems that he stuck in there, was to have this this progression in the life of a I think she was a wizard. Yeah, she must be a wizard. She's got a spell book.
Yeah. She starts as a street urchin at 12. She
steals the book from another wizard.
Yeah.
And
sets
that's
her on her
the
path.
piece that she carries through her whole life and eventually becomes a pretty successful adventurer.
So we saw her on the ship. She's using her spells to kind of help along. This is post shipwreck.
She was shipwrecked, but she still has her book because that's the only thing that really is worth saving.
It's the Indiana Jones hat.
Yeah.
And then later in life, through all the trials and tribulations, she's become a successful adventurer.
Yeah.
But still with the nautical theme behind her as well.
Yes.
So I thought that was kind of nifty. That's
what happens when a storyteller writes the art order and a storyteller makes the art.
So yeah, nice little progression through the book as well. Before we move on to some of the Dungeon Master material, we've got a couple of pieces of art from the downtime section of the book as well. 10 and 11. We have the Sleeping Dwarf. So this is a good concept. So yeah, this is probably post Extra Life for the most part. This was definitely me on Saturday night.
Yeah.
A couple different concepts came in.
Right. So Chris Seaman gives us really, really detailed sketches, but before that, he'll give us a kind of blocky rough.
Yeah.
So the first one is his rough, and then he tightens down all of the details. So you know exactly what you're going to get from him when you get to the final. The only thing that's different from that sketch into the final is that there's color in it.
Yeah.
Chris is one of the people too where when you get his sketch, you feel like you just want to use the sketch.
Yeah.
It's like that's beautiful as it
There
is.
definitely could be a book of his sketches.
Yeah.
They're so intricate and
Oh, I mean, I still love from the first edition books, the black and white, especially the monster art and the Dave Trampier art. Does some great stuff. So here's downtime for some characters. You might be a dwarf who's a bit exhausted. And number 11, we have, this is from Corey Trago Erdner again. A couple of takes a concept for the reading gnome.
yeah. So this guy's using his time wisely. He's gaining more experience, more knowledge.
I would argue that the dwarf is also using his time
Well, you
wise
do need
just
some
differently.
sleep and some food and some drink.
But I do love the mood, the atmosphere that this kind of piece sets
Yeah.
up with the contemplative gnome,
Yeah.
studying how to make his next character. Clearly, these are core rule books he's got stacked up next to him.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There it is. In the
Sometimes when
final.
we get these alternates in at the sketch stage, it's one of the hardest things ever to choose. There have been a number of times where we here in the office were like, either of these would be awesome to use. So I just leave it up to the artist. I'm like, whichever one you want to go with, that's what we'll do, because hopefully they'll love doing that piece that whichever one they choose.
We'll steal them. We'll steal these concepts for interior of Dragon Plus or caption contests or what have you.
Yeah, great sketches.
And we've got number 12, one more look at a character here. Speaking of horses and mounts, we've got, Lake Hurwitz?
Lake Hurwitz.
Lake Hurwitz. So, and this is the concept, this is from actually the spell section. This is Find Greater Steed. So the paladin, I think it's the paladin from the art order, has his Pegasus that he has summoned. And in the final, I noticed he lost all of his hair.
He did. So this one, when the sketch came in, one of the comments that we had was that he looked a little too scruffy. He's supposed to be an elegant paladin. He's supposed to be very refined looking. So we decided, we just told the artist more refined and elegant, and he shaved him and gave him the shining armor.
So here he looks like Jaime Lannister's kind of buddy, the scruffy mercenary buddy, and now here he looks a bit more paladin-esque.
Yeah. And the main thing that we wanted to keep in this as well was the connection between him and his Pegasus.
Yeah. That's a nice piece. These are all great. That's a nice finished piece. So you would go Pegasus or miniature pony now? Miniature Pegasus.
Oh, miniature. Well, what are you going to do with the miniature Pegasus?
That'd be tough.
Maybe like having a drone.
I think you can go with
a
little gnome on a Pegasus. Like a winged pig.
When pigs fly.
Oh boy.
Pegasus.
Moving on.
Bart won't let us get into that.
We'll sketch that.
No, I like it. We'll talk about the sketch show that we're going to be this summer. So moving into some of the Dungeon Master section, some of the combat and traps and options along those lines, we wanted to pull some pieces of art from that section of the book. This is number 13. I just loved it because I love all things owl bears.
Rawr.
Yes. So this is another chapter opener, and I think no, this one didn't flip around. This one we we had most of our time was spent. Most of the time was spent making sure that the characters in this book, or in this image, look the same as in the first chapter opener.
Okay. Oh, from the castle gates?
Yes.
Okay.
So you've
Is
got
this
your
meant
human.
to be the same party?
This is the same party
Ah, all
as
right.
they continue on, and then
There we go.
yeah. So you've got your halfling and your dwarf and your human with his spiky hat. Which culture is that? Rashimi?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
say it is.
Okay.
Yes.
And they've gone in.
Somebody correct us if we're wrong.
So they've gone into the castle, and then the underbellies of the castle, they've encountered the owl bear.
Yes. There he is, and he is mad.
We've had the debate in the past. Owl bears, cool or no? Some people
Who
say
would
no.
ever say no?
I won't name names. Other people, not me.
Initials
They're cool.
MM.
Owlbears are cool.
What's that?
Our initials MM.
No,
Oh.
CY.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Hmm.
Chris does not like owl bears. Never did. I find them.
I think I knew that about him.
I think they're the quintessential D&D monster. I love a good owl bear, and this is a
Yeah.
great owl bear.
Yeah, I think they're one of those things. Like, a lot of other things are in other fantasy, like
Right.
elves and goblins and all that.
Yeah,
But you see an owlbear or a beholder,
that's D&D.
then you know you're in. This is weird. Like, it's just a little off, you know.
And if we go to 14, we'll get through a few of these. We're running out of time. My gosh. But no.
Again, a little halfling fighting some ettins.
Yeah.
Or an ettin. I don't know. Are they single
Yeah, is
or
that
plural?
plural?
Go by the head or the body.
That was in our Extra Life game. Lauren Urban had us teleporting around in our little pocket dimension, and I kept thinking if we failed the roll and we're all trying to go to the same place, what if we appear there and it's one character but with two heads? We've melded along the way. So maybe that's the secret history of the Etten, or not.
Maybe.
But a cool shot of that. And then if we've got, let me see.
That's
which-
based on you and I, isn't it, Kate? It's like the two heads. Like
Which-
you're the head on the right.
And then-
His
head on
right
the
or our right?
Stage right. I don't know.
Stage right.
You're the good-looking head, and I'm the weird-looking head.
One of them has applied the war paint.
Yeah.
So whoever
I'm
that
like,
would
I wear
be.
more makeup usually,
Yeah.
so it's probably me with the blue.
Okay.
Usually.
So then we've got 15. We've got a couple of sketches leading into, this is Scott Murphy's look at a random encounter. So again, a couple takes on adventurers trying to pick a lock, unaware of the ooze that's reaching out for them along the way.
Yeah. Scott gives a few rough options, which seriously, those roughs, I mean, you can tell everything that's happening in there, but and then he'll give me a tighter version, and then finally the color version.
Yeah.
But you know, it helps him not have to rework things because I know exactly what I'm getting, which is great, and it makes me want to work with. Again, I know what I'm getting. There are no surprises at the end.
So we'll move quickly through a couple more. We've got 16. This is Mark Bem again. With,
So this is our final chapter. Chapter opener.
the evil priest.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, again, yeah, something about the black and white with just the way that it's got the interplay of the light.
Yeah.
Really brings out something nicely. And then the final also has a good mood to it as well.
Yeah.
The book, one thing I like, there's the bit of a blend of styles in Xanathar's Guide as well, which I appreciated.
Yeah, that's always a question with the art. Do we try to have one visual story with the art, or do we allow for a lot of variation, and I think we tend to have more variation, although it's all. I feel like we're more contained than we used to be in earlier editions, maybe, but there's still some variety.
And a book of options and variety probably makes sense to.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then we've got 17 from our good friend Claudio in Brazil. We've.
Yeah. I mean, Claudio is a thinking artist for sure. Like he's looking at every possibility and is always trying to give us as many options as he possibly can.
And so this is, I want to say, from the traps section of the book as well. So
that's not just a fountain. If you couldn't tell by all the blood and bodies.
Sometimes a fountain is just a fountain, but not in this case.
No.
Then we've got the.
Now that's a trap.
That's a trap.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
Yep. He's got to get out of that, or those skeletons are going to get him.
And then, so yeah, a couple of pieces of art from the trap section of the book. And then 18, 19, and 20, I had a bit of a theme here. There were a couple of, this is Olga Drabus, looking at an arcanist. There's a couple that had a couple collections of small familiars or trinkets or clockwork devices as well. So this is the work table of a warlock or wizard, it says, with an imp and various filigree of the accoutrement of the warlock or wizard. 19, we've got, this is another, I think all three are from Olga as well.
I think so, yeah.
This is the trinkets from gnomish trinkets as well.
Yeah, so you've got his little tools and the things that he uses his tools on.
Oh. And then 20, this is actually from the spell section of the book, but this is Tiny Servant. So I can only hope that the beer is going towards the...
And not sneaking away.
Not sneaking away, because that would be a horribly, horribly cruel spell or device to
You go
inflict
reach
on
for
them.
it, and there's nothing there.
I think there's a drunkenness theme running through this whole.
It was a long weekend.
Yeah.
That's all we could say. And then the final piece, this one, speaking of different styles, this is the David Sladex piece as well.
Yeah.
So this one was, it's entitled Encounters, but it was clearly from a humorous section of the book as well. So there's a couple of sketches, and then we've got the again, great black and white drawing.
Yeah. So, yeah, this one, he actually did two pieces for us that were humorous pieces. There's this one, and then there's another one where the monsters are in a waiting room, waiting to be called up by the dungeon master. And we had a little snafu near the end of our project, and he wasn't able to finish both of those pieces.
Yeah.
So he went back and gave us a clear black and white version so that we could use them both, since they are so different content-wise, that we could use them as black and white pieces in the book.
Sure.
And then it ended up that, although we usually have a really pretty good idea about what is going in a book, sometimes we're a little bit long, sometimes a little bit short. So there was a lot going on in that chapter, and so we just went with the one color piece. But
It's like packing for a trip.
yeah,
Not everything
you might
makes
not
it.
wear all of those socks.
Well, hey, it's the Dragon Plus live stream, so we'll save the black and white piece that wasn't used in the book. We'll put that in the pages of Dragon Plus.
Oh, that's great.
For a
Yeah.
special little
There you go.
It's- everybody should see it. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, here we are. We've managed to spend another fine hour together.
Well,
Always seems like it goes by in about 20 minutes. Again, for everyone watching today, this was a peek inside the art and some of the art talking, the art process to Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Available November 10th at your core hobby store and November 21, wide release in the mass market. With me today, Richard Witters and Kate Irwin, two of our senior art directors. Thank you for suffering through an hour of conversation on the couch of doom.
It's always wonderful to talk with you, Bart.
I appreciate it. For everyone watching, again, thank you for tuning in. It's always greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And again, we just wanted to call out, if you watched, chatted, donated to Extra Life 2017, donations are still open, but thank you so much for taking part in this year. It was super appreciated. We had Kennedy O'Day from Seattle Children's
She was awesome.
One of the players in our game. So, in the next issue of Dragon Plus, we'll look to get up. Maybe we'll look to get up her character sheet, as well as a little nice bonus.
Mm-hmm. So. That'd be great.
Next week, I believe we're going to be talking to Jason Thompson, our esteemed cartoonist, about his past work, and he's got a future cartoon coming up in a Dragon Plus. So until then, we'll chat soon. Well, thanks for watching, everyone.
I got to go finish a piece for Kate now.
That's right.